Welcome, welcome. Welcome back to another episode of Soul Flow Conversations. I am your host, Dedrick the Cookie Man. Oh, Lord. That's an echo. I am your host, Dedrick the Cookie Man, alongside my amazing, beautiful co host, Jessica Fields. Yes, you see it. You see it. Yes, indeed. And on stage, we have with us tonight, we have Mr. Maurice.
How we doing? How we doing?
Yes, indeed. And Annecy, he'll be back up later. I had to put the little one to bed. So tonight we're gonna get started with a couple of topics. The topics are going to be is chivalry dead? What killed it? And also, what do you think submission means versus what it actually really is? Because a lot of people have their opinions about what submission is, and it's something totally different. So, in reality, we're gonna go ahead and get started and whatnot. So, is chivalry dead? If it's not, let's bring forth the truth and stuff like that. And if you say it is, what do you think caused chivalry to not be there anymore, and whatnot? So we're gonna get started with it. We're gonna kick it off and whatnot. And I will reserve my opinion until after you guys go ahead and kick it off. Jessica, the only woman on the panel so far, because Miss Morphine, she'll be joining us again soon. So, but yeah, you can go ahead and start, please.
Well, I can honestly say that I don't have the problem of chivalry is dead.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where I go, you know, men still hold the door open. They're still polite. I mean, I don't go many places often, but when I do, I don't run into that problem.
Okay.
So for me, you know, I I just don't see it. If I'm in the grocery store and I'm trying to get a 48 case of water and there's a guy around, they always come and say, hey, let me get that for you, ma'am. Or, they hold the door open. Um, but I will also say that I smile a lot, believe it or not.
Okay.
I don't walk around with like, what's it called? The
RBF.
RBF. Yeah, I didn't want to say
Right.
the word.
Right.
I don't walk around with the RBF. So,
Right.
when people encounter me, it's like, oh, okay, well, no, I saw her earlier and she spoke and she was pleasant. So let me help her with this water or whatever. So again, like I personally, I don't experience it.
Right. Okay. All right, and I wanted to hear from you for a particular reason, because no matter what we as men say, the experience is towards women. So the best person to actually speak on that in that particular regard is Mrs. Fields and whatnot. And thank you for that. And Maurice, you next. What do you think about that?
Um, I, I guess one of my sayings is it's important to um, teach boys how to be gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just as much as important to make sure that they are gentlemen-like towards ladies and knowing how to identify ladies. The whole purpose of chivalry is to treat ladies. There was a point in time that just about every woman was a lady. I can't say that now. Um, and the women that do complain that chivalry is dead is because they're probably not acting very ladylike and they don't elicit the gentleman-like behavior from the men.
Okay.
Probably also they're looking for the attention from the ungentleman-like, unchivalrous-like type men.
Right.
So they're a product of, they basically are the prophets of their own environment.
Okay.
That's my take.
All right. That's a fair take. Well, what I will say is I do agree with you both. Um, you know, chivalry still does exist, and it exists in those individuals who understand what chivalry means, social construct. And like Maurice said, um, those individuals who are complaining are probably the ones who contributed to the lack of chivalry. Because especially with the huge feminism feminist movement, and a lot of these independent women slogans and songs and stuff like that, and a lot of women buying into it. Now, please, I'm gonna say this: you're supposed to be independent. That's what adults do. It's called adulting. You're supposed to be able to do things on your own. You don't get bonus points for being an adult. Like that's what that is. However, you have to be very, very careful the line that you walk when it comes to you picking and choosing when you choose to be an actual woman or want to be treated like an actual woman. Because a lot of this equality talk, a lot of this stuff, has taken away the desire for men to be that chivalrous man. Um, no, I'm not giving any excuse for men um, behaving poorly. No, I'm not. Nor am I giving any excuses for men to treat women badly. No, I'm not. However, you have to take some kind of accountability for some women's part in the lack of chivalry, because opening doors used to be something that was customary, that young men, boys, were taught to do it. And sometimes you'd see little boy child, they'll run and grab the door to let the women go in and stuff like that. And a lot of the times in this particular society, as Maurice said, you don't like, some of these women are not ladies. They don't even know how to spell it. You know what I'm saying? And the problem is that, with social media, with peer groupthink, with a lot of this independent mindset, I don't need no man mindset, and stuff like that, it makes it a little difficult when a man tries to do something that he feels is something that a man should do for a woman, and then she comes and slaps him in the face with, "Oh, you don't think I can do that? Oh, I can't." Where did you get all that from? He didn't ever say anything like that. He didn't put you down. He didn't belittle you as a woman. He literally wanted to do something nice for you because you're a lady. How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Fields? William? What's going
Oh,
on,
what's
bro?
going on?
What's
Captain
going
Fields,
on?
what's going
Y'all
on?
good to go?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Milk
I,
Dud
I hear
crew.
y'all. I hear y'all
Milk
talking
Dud
about it.
crew
I
in
hear
the
y'all
house. Milk
talking
Dud
about it.
crew in the house. Yes, sir. So,
Yeah,
Milk Dud gang.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So,
yeah.
so we have to be very, very careful when we're picking and choosing. When you choose to be treated like a lady or a woman, because a lot of the times guys gonna just throw up their hands and just fall back. Do you? Because and it's a dangerous slope, and stuff like that. Because when a man chooses to be chivalrous, you might want to let him be chivalrous. He doesn't want anything from you. Most of us don't. We just doing what we should do as a man. When it comes to a woman, we don't feel like you're less than. We just feel like this is the way you should be treated. So please allow a man to be a man in your life and do the things that a man is supposed to do. Because a lot of the times when you don't appreciate it, we're going to stop doing it. Now, and I personally, it's kind of
He froze
Oh
up.
crap.
Froze up. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever type of incident happened in DC, he needs to get that thing updated, man. Oh, he back. Welcome back.
Okay.
It's you.
that's crazy. I said so some guys are going to fall back and just stop being chivalrous. Now I said it is interwoven in my spirit, my soul, my backbone, and all that, my leg bones connected to my hip bone, all that is it's in me. So that's never going away. What I do is I observe, because if you, and even if I see that you're not very ladylike, I'm still going to open the door for you. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not going to go out of my way to just do certain things. That's just not something I'm going to do. I'm going to stay out of your way. As a matter of fact, I'm not going to give you any energy, whether her being unladylike is directed at me or not. That when I see and observe that a woman isn't a lady, there's certain things that you don't deserve. You're not going to get that treatment that you think you're deserving of when you have displayed that you're not a lady and don't know how to be one. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be very, very careful when it comes to that. If you guys want to expound, I see Billy back there. So if Billy's still in the vicinity, he can expound on chivalry if you like.
He said, hold on. He said he'd be right back. Where he at? Here you go. Do you want to expound on what chivalry? Yeah, I can never say the word right. Chivalry is, and like how it, how you perceive it. Milk Dud gang gang.
I mean, I just heard you talking about it. You took the words out of my mouth. Opening doors, doing those things. That's chivalry. Being a gentleman. And like you said, some of it is going away because sometimes, like I said, I think I said this before. I've opened doors for women before, and they're like, "I don't need you to open the door for me." I didn't ask you to open the door for me. I've had them tell me that too. I didn't ask you to open the door. I'm like, okay.
Wow.
And I'm like, exactly. Or either they think you're trying to get with them if you open the door for them.
Right.
I'm like, okay. So to make you halfway scared to open doors for them, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Facts.
Like you open the door, they got something smart to say.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, it's like you said, but I do it. I still do it, I still do it. But yeah, it's just who I am. But yeah, but you like sometimes, it's kind of things are changing. Most definitely, things are really changing. I think it's reversing. I think it's reversing for like this generation that's coming up now. I think it's reversing. You see all the women driving the men around. The younger generation, the guy in the passenger seat leaning back, looking cool while the women driving them everywhere. I'm like, okay.
Grabbing his thigh.
I'm like, huh? I'm like, okay, all right,
I can't even drive if Billy's in the car. And it's not because I'm a bad driver. It's just like I'm not a bad driver. I'm not a bad driver.
Okay.
She can drive. She's good.
But like for example, like one
time. The more
time,
she defends herself, the less I believe her.
Don't start with me, Maurice. But like seriously, like so, like I know one time. Remember that one time. I had dropped him off because he was going to run into Walmart, and so then I just kind of rolled around until he was coming out because it was going to be real quick. And I was like, well, get in the passenger side, and he got in the passenger side, and you could tell how awkward it felt for him because he's not used to being in the passenger side with me. The only other exception is like, say we're taking a long trip, like when we went from Virginia to Buffalo, right? And he was like, you hear that little on the side of the road, and you like, nah, babe, let me drive for a minute and get you a nap, right? And get you a nap. And but then like an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours later, he like, all right, I'm good now. Go ahead and pull over so I can drive. If my husband is with me, I don't open my car door. I don't pump gas. I don't carry the bags. Like that's just something that's ingrained in me. And I had to actually get used to that because, prior to him, I was single. So I had to do those things for myself. But there's a difference, that's just being an adult. Okay, if you go grocery shopping, you got to carry your bags. If you need gas, you got to put gas in your car. But so for example, let's say I have to go somewhere tomorrow and I'd be like, Billy, I gotta go to the doctor tomorrow. He'd be like, all right, well, how much gas is in your car? Okay, let me run to the matter of fact, he just did that. Let me run to the gas station and fill your truck up. So you don't have to stop. So I'm just accustomed to it now at this point.
I don't know. Everything you're saying right now sounds like he was working for his self-preservation. He was just like, let me do it. Like he couldn't sleep. He was in that hour and a half of drive. Like, oh man, I'm gonna tell her pull over because I can't sleep.
I am a good driver. Y'all gonna stop playing with me.
Hey, listen. The one person that could actually vouch for you has said nothing yet, so I'm gonna let it rock.
No, she can drive. She can drive.
No. See, I was waiting for you. I didn't have. I prompted you this time, so I'm not taking it. I'm just not that.
Well, and then the other thing is too, as we look at that, you know, like any ladies who are, you know, actually watching this and listening, when a man is attempting to be the man, and I'm going to use this particular word very, very sparingly because it's not what you think. You need to allow him to be the man that he's trying to be in your life. And when I say allow, that it has nothing to do with dominance. It has nothing to do with that. And when a man is in your life, you need to chill out and let him do what is it. Because like Jessica just said, it's something that she had to get used to. Because if she's been self-sufficient, she's been taught to be self-sufficient, and whatnot. That's what she's supposed to do. But a lot of women don't know how to let go of a certain amount of control. And I'm not saying for you to, as a woman, to just relinquish control immediately. No, because all men are not. You know, we're gonna segue into our next side of things. All men are not worthy of that level of control. They hadn't earned it. You understand? So, and my thing is that you have to be very, as a woman, I'm not speaking on behalf of women, but I'm speaking from a man's point of view, looking at women doing these things. As a woman, you need to be very careful who you relinquish that kind of control to, or that kind of I guess you could say kind of control, but I don't think it's control. I don't know how to
trust.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
No, listen, women and men speak different languages. Don't be scared of the words. You know what you meant. You meant control. It is control.
No, I mean,
it's trust.
She gave me a better word. She gave me a better word because trust is what I really.
All right, but what are you trusting them to do?
I'm trusting him to guide. I'm trusting him to lead. I'm trusting
how do you guide something? How do you guide something if you don't have control over it? That's what I'm saying. Y'all running away from this word.
You just want to use the word control because that's you.
No, every which direction you want to twist it, I'm gonna take it right back to control because that's where it's going.
And I'm not. But okay. Well, let me ask a question then.
Go ahead.
Really, do you control me?
No,
that's not what I said. Is that what I said?
I just listen to the guidance of him because I trust him.
Okay. How does he guide it? How does he guide without control? Explain that to me.
Because I trust him. Because I trust his guidance. I trust his word. And then sometimes he'll say something stupid and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not it. We're not doing that.
So
there's control? Not a control. There's a trust within within each other that we're just always focused on doing the right thing for our family and our lives.
Yeah.
So it's more of a trust thing.
Yeah, it's women speak. Womenese.
Oh my God! Here you
go. It is. It is. Hold on. Let me say what I gotta say here. Because in order for him to guide, lead, protect, do everything that you want this man to do, he has to have control. You can disagree with him. When you disagree with him, you relinquish all control. Like you say, nope, give me all my control back. No, you got to work through it and say, listen, what it is. But when it comes down to like a disagreement, you got to relinquish some level of control. I don't need to see up your
What
nostrils.
the devil?
Like I'm looking right up into her brains. Like that forehead, it got all the brain. I can see.
You just roasted me on my forehead, right? That's what you just did.
You set yourself up so easily.
Look,
I
I'm
got
sorry.
you.
That's wild right there. That's wild. That's wild.
I mean, come on, man. She set me up.
Oh, no,
She set
don't
me
worry.
up. We
still got an hour and 40 minutes. Oh yeah, I'm on you.
No, but honestly, going back to what I was saying though, how do you expect a man to be a man unless you relinquish that control?
But it's not control; it's trust.
I didn't say it was in trust.
Well, you said you was going to take it back to control every time.
Exactly.
But here's my thing. My thing with that is I would want to use a different word because it's so triggering to a lot of people.
What I say, womanese. You're trying to speak womanese.
No, it's not womanese. You're not gonna label that. No. What I'm trying to say is that trust is a better word because you're trusting the person to make a good decision that's going to benefit all of you. Now, if that person makes a mistake, that's fine. But like you said, you relinquish that. And that goes back to that leads us into that word of submission, right? So my thing is both men and women, we submit to each other, but we submit in different ways. We're not the same. We're not going to submit the same way. So when people are talking about submission, and I beg to say most people don't even know what they're talking about. And the problem goes to the Webster dictionary to define what submission means. Let me explain something. Do you have a dominant and then you have a submissive? We're not talking about a sexually BDSM type of roles. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about I'm a dom and she's a sub. We're not talking about that.
You know this lingo a little bit too well, man. What's going on?
Well, I know it. So
okay, my bad.
But we all grown up in here. None of us are ignorant to the fact. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're not talking about that kind of thing. We're not talking about being submissive as in being subservient. And I'm going to say that again for those people in the back. We're not talking about submission as in being subservient, bowing down to another person, losing yourself because of another person and what they want only. We're not talking about that. That is unhealthy. So we're not talking about that kind of submission. So I need y'all to really get your heads unwrapped from the wrong definitions of what submission means. Because a lot of the times when we talk about submission, it's always about control. Control in these contexts are taken out, is always taken out of context. And we're not talking about some kind of unhealthy type of control type of thing. When we talk about submission, it goes back to respect and trust. It goes right back to that spiritually. And then because one thing I've always said is that if a man at the very beginning comes and says, well, I want a submissive woman and I want, well, first of all, he can go ahead and go sit in a corner somewhere because it's apparent that he does not know what submission means. No woman comes to the table submissive. No, not one. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason is they're supposed to come in self-preservation mode. They're supposed to have their walls up. They're supposed to do that. You're not supposed to. That's why I don't believe in unconditional love romantically. I don't believe in that. Because when you come to the table, you come to someone, you're presenting yourself to the other person, you're coming to them with the condition that they treat you right, with the condition that they're not abusive, with the condition that they don't come to you in a toxic manner, with the condition that they're not abusive physically, mentally, or emotionally. These are conditions for someone to continue to be in your life. And that's how it's supposed to be. Children and pets are the only ones that get that gets unconditional love, or pets give humans unconditional love, and we give children unconditional love. You're not about to tell me that I'm gonna just love you regardless. Nobody in their right mind is just gonna love the person just because. I don't believe in.
But I would add real quick to before I forget to what you said. Like submission was never a conversation between Billy and I, and we've been together for what 16 years. It was never a conversation. There was never the what do you bring to the table? I need a woman that's going to submit to me because in my opinion, heavy on my opinion, a man that deserves that type of commitment and that type of respect, it doesn't even need to be spoken. It doesn't need to be spoken.
Objection, Your Honor. Objection.
Well, I'm saying I said heavy on my opinion, and I'm just speaking from my relationship with my husband. When I see him and I see his character and his values and his morals, it kind of demands that submission. Like, you know, you want sweet tea and do you like mustard on your sandwich? Like, what do you want, boo? Because I got you. Because his demeanor and his values and his character just displays that. So when men display those types of attributes, now I'm not saying all men, because some men are like tricksters, and that it is the minority. I will say that, where they're tricksters and they'll sell a good game, and you know, you got this woman. What he say in life? He got clipping your toenails and ironing your drawers, right? Just sitting in the corner waiting for a command from a man. But that's not the majority. When a woman truly submits, it's because he has earned that. He has shown you that he is a good leader, that he is going to guide you, and that he is going to be there with you and for you through whatever. And kind of like Deku said, not to say unconditional love, like you can't go cheat on me and think that I'm supposed to love you through that, or you can't beat on me and think I'm supposed to love you through that. No. There are conditions to love. But again, you know, back to the whole submission thing, I've never had that conversation with Billy ever. And matter of fact, it wasn't until real quick, and then I'll land my plane. It wasn't until I started seeing Kevin Samuels, and I asked him one day, I literally asked him, I said, do you consider me a submissive wife? And he said, you know, I really don't like that word. He said, I look at you as a cooperative wife. He said, I don't like that word. Like for example, and y'all probably gonna jump on Billy if I say this. I'm gonna say it because the hell with it.
Poor Billy.
Poor Billy. When we did our wedding vows, he, not me, he took the word obey out of our vows. He said, I don't need you to obey me. You're not my dog. But because you trust me, I know that you will obey what I say. I don't need the word to confirm it. Because you've already shown me that through my guidance and my leadership, that I don't have to obey. You know, you don't have to obey like you're a freaking German Shepherd. You're going to do that simply based off the fact that you trust me and you trust my leadership and my guidance.
All right. I got a lot to say about all that. But before I go and say what I want to say, I want y'all to try your best not to interrupt. I'm going to ask some rhetorical questions. I just ask that you play along just so we can get through it. Before I get to that part, though, the whole concept. Oh, let me ask Jessica this question first. Your temperament type and your demeanor, would you say that fits in the majority of women or the minority?
It's the minority. So
him not asking you to obey is probably not a general prescription for the most of women out here. I'm just gonna put that out there. Y'all do what you want, but that sits in my opinion. But the thing I was going to say is relationships are kind of like car rides. We was talking about driving earlier, so this came to my mind. So relationships kind of like a car ride. In a car, how many drivers are there? One driver, and that driver has total control of the vehicle. Does he not, or does she not?
Sure.
Now, the passenger does have to make a decision before the car ride starts, whether they're going to get in the car or not, correct?
That's correct.
And usually before you decide that you're going to get into the car with somebody, you get to know who that person is before you get to the car with them, correct?
Generally,
correct.
Yeah.
So while you're in that car, though, your role as a passenger is to submit to the driver, is it not?
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you try reaching for the wheel, reaching for the gear shift, trying to press in the gas from the passenger seat, what's going to happen?
You're going to crash, probably.
Going to crash. This is no different than a relationship. This is no different than the concept of submission and the leader and all that. The decisions need to be made before you get into the car. Y'all trying to make decisions while you're in the car. And that's going to be a problem. Someone's driving. You got the trust was implied by the act of you getting into the car. That's the person you trust to be able to take you from point A to point B. And then throughout that trip, you're submitting to that person. Now, there's going to be several trips. And it might be sometimes it's going to be you in the driver's seat. It might be somebody else, the other person in the driver's seat. But before you decide to get into that car, you got to make a decision on whether or not you trust this person to be able to successfully navigate whatever comes up. Now, while being in the passenger seat, you do get to say, "Hey, there's something over there. Watch out. Hey, watch out for that bump over there. Hey, there's a ball coming. A kid might come. Be careful." Because you have the additional eyes and vision. Because 4 eyes is better than 2, right? So there is a role for the passenger to play that is supportive to the driver, but it's not to take over or to compete for control. Control only is in one person's hands. Now, I'm gonna leave that right there.
But I mean, you kind of just proved what I said. It's about trust. So for example, hold on. So for example, I can get in the car with Billy and it could be a 2-hour drive, it could be a 5-hour drive, it could be an 8-hour drive. I could be on my phone, on Facebook, talking to y'all, playing my game. I don't even know where the hell we at. Right? Because he's driving. And I trust him to get us to where we need to be safely because this is his wife and his family. Now, again, kind of going back to what I said earlier, now when I hear that little on the side of the road, when they get sleepy and close their eyes for a minute, and I'll be like, "Hey, babe, you all right? You all right?" "Oh, no. Okay, let me drive right quick then because you need a nap."
Oh, can I stop you right there?
The point is, there's hold on. I let you finish.
Yeah, no, I just want to interject a little something right there because I don't want it to pass by. But you understand when you made that statement, it was not a statement though; it was a request. You look a little tired. You mind pulling over? It's a request.
No. You know me long enough to know that won't no damn request. That won't no request. That was like pull over. Now, did I ask nicely? Of course.
That's my husband. It's a request.
And I was no, it's not.
Request.
No, it's not. Because he knew it wasn't a request. Just like I can ask my child, "Hey, babe, can you take the trash out?" Right? It might be a request, but it's a demand at the same time. You're not going to sit here and tell me no because I said take the damn trash out. So same thing. And he knows, like, you know what? I am kind of sleepy. Let me go ahead and let Just drive for a few. and let me catch myself a nap. So it's kind of like you got that pilot and the co-pilot. So the pilot and the co-pilot, since you want to go with driving, you have a pilot who is the one that's steering, and then you have your co-pilot. And your co-pilot, like you said, they might say, hey, there's a tree right there. Or, hey, slow down. You know, the speed limit is 45. I see you going 60. And we don't need no ticket. But nevertheless, it's still a co-pilot. It's a team effort. It's not a control thing. And that's the point that I'm trying to make. It's not about control. I'm gonna wait for Dedrick on this one because I know you about to say something crazy.
I don't know if I could have made it any clearer than that example as far as who has control when the car is moving. Once the car is going, there's only one person.
So let's say let me knock on wood. Let's say, God forbid, Billy had a freaking heart attack in the middle of driving. Is it not my job to take control of the vehicle?
What did you just say? So stop. Just say that phrase.
If God forbid, I know what I said. If God forbid he was driving, and something happened to him, would I have to take control of the vehicle? Yes, because I'm his co-pilot. It's not a control thing.
I had you repeat that for a reason. There's a reason I had you repeat that because you had to say this phrase. You had to say the phrase "take control." How are you going to take what he didn't have? How are you going to take what he didn't have?
I have to make sure that my family is safe and that we don't crash into a damn tree.
Let the record show you didn't answer the question, Your Honor.
He's having a heart attack. I'm on the passenger side.
Let the record show she's not answering the question, Your Honor.
That makes it teamwork. That does not make it. That makes it a team thing. That does not make it one controls the other or the other controls the other.
Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to use a completely different thing. The head of the household, essentially, Jessica, is whom? Jessica.
Sorry, my husband is the head of the household.
But you are the head of making the house a home, right?
Correct. So that's a partnership.
So in the way I view, because I understand what you're saying, Jessica. In the way that Maurice is his example was the car being the relationship. You already understood that. But my thing is that when you're in a car, a lot of factors are considered within that car. You understand? You can be driving and you can be in control of the car, but if you're making the wrong decisions, that passenger, i.e. your partner, has they can take corrective measures to make sure that car stays on the road, meaning that relationship stays on the right track. So if Billy, being the head of the household, for some reason he veers in a direction that Jessica sees that is an unhealthy direction, either for himself or the family, she gets to step in and take some kind of control or some kind of measure that's going to put the car back on the right track. Now, again, we're not saying that there isn't some level of control some kind of way. There got to be. There has to be order. You understand? However, there's a partnership involved. There's no totalitarian type of mentality in that household or in that relationship. I'm not a dictator within this relationship. I don't get to dictate everything. No, that's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? So
now the way that
I'm sorry,
the way that you just put it is perfect. You're not a totalitarian. It's not all about you controlling something. Look, let me tell you something. And I say this to a lot of women, and y'all might not agree, and that's fine. And I wish Billy was out here so y'all can ask him yourselves. Mm-hmm. Who do you think runs this household? Be honest.
The household of the household? I think it's you. If you ask me.
It is. But I don't mean that in a disrespectful manner.
Mm-hmm. I didn't say it.
He is still the head of the house. He is the husband and the father. And what daddy says, what husband says, at the end of the day, that will go. But who has the influence on the husband? And why do I have that influence on the husband? So again, it's not about that. I think that's what I'm trying to point out. It's not about just specifically control, because I think that's where a lot of people get caught up with the word submission. And that's why a lot of ladies, they back away from it, because it's like, oh my God, he wants to control me and tell me what I can wear and what I can do and what I can say and how I can move. And that's not even really the case. The most submissive wife, in my experience, for the past 60, I get everything I want. I'm not denied anything, because I do what I'm supposed to do as a wife, as a mother. But that doesn't mean that he controls me either. Because at the end of the day, there's sometimes, now don't get me wrong, let me be very clear. There's sometimes Billy will be like, I said what I said, and this is what we're doing, and that's it. And I'll be like, okay, babe. No problem. But then there's other times where I'll be like, well, babe, can we talk about that? Because I don't think that's fair. Can we iron this out? And, and even after that conversation, if he still says, I said what I said, I'll be like, okay, no problem. But again, it's not a controlling thing, because we've had that conversation now. He knows where I'm coming from. I know where he's coming from. And then a lot of times when the shit explode in his face, I'll be like, told you. But
hey y'all.
But in fairness, he's also like, yeah, you was right. I'll give him that. No different than I do. If I say, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't do that, maybe we should do this, and then the shit blows up in my face, I'm like, you was right. I should have listened to you. So again, I guess what I'm trying to get away from is that control thing. If you have a very solid relationship with your spouse, because then you come together and it's not about controlling, it's about cooperation, and it's about working together to have the best outcome.
And let's see, I'll let you get in there. I just want to say this one thing. I'm going to say the word that you'll love when I say there's a conflation going on. We are conflating two concepts. There's a difference between to have control and to be controlling. These are two different concepts. And you guys are conflating the two as if it's the same thing.
That's what I just said.
I know. It's after you explained what you were talking about, I realized that where the conflation was, because you guys are using it's like when I say take control, you guys are hearing be controlling, which is not what I'm saying.
That's not what we said. That's not what we meant. That's not what we meant.
So you have a problem because in y'all, when y'all talk and y'all say take control, have control, y'all are fine with it. But when I say it, y'all automatically assume I'm talking about being controlling, like this person, because you guys use the word dictator, you use the word totalitarian, you use all these words. I didn't use those words.
No, we didn't say anything in relation to you when it came to that. I was very, very clear. Jessica was very, very clear with what we were saying. We didn't assume anything. Anything that we say back to you based off of what you said, we will repeat verbatim what you say.
So y'all agree with what I said?
We're not going to assume anything.
Okay, so y'all agree with what I said.
What I'm saying is what you're saying is almost not correct. It was not 100%, because certain things that you're saying was almost as if it was a what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost as if that's the only way to look at it. That's the way you were presenting it. My thing is that when you're saying, well, one person has the complete control of the car, as if there aren't other elements that's going on inside of that car. The car being the relationship, the car being a marriage, the car being whatever that relationship is. There's a lot that can go on that can influence the control of that car. That can influence whether or not that car pulls over, whether or not everybody get out of the car, whether or not there's a lot that can go on. So you can't say that person just has complete, that's it.
And that's all I was saying as well.
Because like Jessica was saying,
I didn't say that though.
Huh?
I didn't say all that. But that's what I'm saying.
Yes, you did. You said
That's
you
fine.
literally said, hold
I
on.
could,
You
I could,
literally
hold on, hold
said
on. I could pick that out.
no. You
I
literally
want.
said who has control of the car. If he's the driver,
Was I wrong?
who
Was
has
I wrong?
control of the car?
Was I wrong in saying that
No,
who has control of the
no,
car? Was I wrong?
no, no,
So why are you picking it apart? Why are you picking it apart
no.
like I didn't like I said something off? He
What I'm
has
saying is
whoever's driving has control of the car. Is that
correct.
wrong? Is that a false statement?
Can,
No,
can I can I jump
All
on
right.
this real
Yeah,
quick?
I didn't want to pick it apart. I wanted to let you in. Go ahead.
uh, First of all, good evening, everybody, and sorry I'm
Good
late.
evening, Embassy.
Yeah,
good
it's
evening,
nice
good
seeing
evening.
y'all again. My little one needs extra attention, so sometimes it's kind of hard to get away. So,
Yeah, we get it, we get it, we get it.
um, first of all, I just wanna I just wanna point something out. Back in the biblical time, it was a lot simpler for people to just explain what they're trying to say. A lot simpler. They were using fewer words. They use a lot of parable and also imagery, especially in Egypt. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. Um, and also, it's mind-boggling that we've been in this planet for over 6,000 years, I think, and we still can't make the differentials between you know those those simple things, right? And I don't think it's because we can't. I think some of us we just so the word I'm looking for is like we so firm on what we believe it should be the norm, right? Even though we all know what's right, even though we know what the Bible say, even though we know where everything leads, but somehow we always have issues with how things are set out to be, right? Now, for example, I think she was talking about it earlier, and she was talking about like not being controlling, not being controlled by anybody. In fact, I don't think anybody can be controlled. Um, for you to be controlled, you would have to relinquish that power for you to be controlled. And I don't have a problem with the word control, if I'm gonna be honest. But I do like the word submission better. Mainly because when you really think about it, um, submission is in marriage basically is it's almost like a team, right? It's almost like a team. And I said it to you guys earlier before that a woman needs to be the kind of woman that a man is willing to die for. And a man needs to be the kind of man a woman is willing to submit to. And I think you guys said it really well earlier too when you said, "Hey, listen, not all men have that right to be submitted to, right?" And I think it's the same thing for a woman. Not all women have that right to have the type of husband that they deserve, right? So I think in the grand scheme of things, we have to go back to the Bible. That's for me anyway. We go back to the Bible. What does the Bible say? Because a lot of things can get misconstrued and misinterpreted because we're not really thinking about the word. Like for example, the Bible said the woman should be silenced, right? But what does the Bible mean by that? Anybody ever thought about that? Do the Bible really ask the women to just shut up and not talk? That's not what it means at all.
No.
What he meant is that the woman should be the man's peace, right? So in the same sense, a woman should be protecting her man's heart
Hmm.
because your words are so powerful for women. That is, women's words are so powerful. It can start a war.
Hmm.
All right,
Most
a
wars have
woman's
been
word
started by women.
exactly. Okay, and guess what? men have the power too, and our power is more violent in physical nature. But we men don't really use that power as often as women do. I don't know if
I'd
you're
like to
following me.
I'd like to say this, and I've said this on this show before, but you're new, so you haven't heard me say this. My husband, my husband literally has the house phone, the phone that's in our house, the landline. He has it programmed as peace. That's what it when he calls. And the only reason why I figured that out is because, long story short, one day his father was really sick and he needed to go, and his parents live about an hour and a half away. Long story short, I'm like, go pack your stuff, just go. Like, I'm not about to sit here and waste no time. Just go. And I plugged his phone in because I wanted him to have a fully charged phone before he left. And I guess he was looking for his phone because he called from the house phone. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I'm so glad I ain't say nothing because I would have looked so stupid. I would have looked so stupid. I looked over and the phone was ringing, right? And I'm looking because, okay, and mind you, I don't check my husband's mail. I don't check my husband's wallet, his pockets, nothing. We are a privacy type of people. And but I looked that day because of course his father was in the hospital. And I was making sure that it wasn't his mom or his sister calling with an update. And it said peace. And I was like, who the hell is peace? And then I looked at the phone number and it was my house number. It was my damn house number. I'm so glad I didn't say nothing. I would have looked so damn stupid. But
But
I'm just giving you that example because I agree with the brother with what the brother said. You know,
mhm,
that men want peace. They want peace.
mhm.
When they
And
come
that's the,
home, they want peace.
mhm. And that's the thing that, and I also agree with Anthony and what he said when because you have to understand, like with a lot of with a lot of the anarchy that happens in a lot of these households. Number one, there's no respect in that household for either person. In a lot of the cases that we see online a lot, we see a lot of women disrespecting men out of their mouth, and they think. I just saw a video of a guy, and it could have been a skit, whatever. But the whole point was that she came and apologized to him, and he was on the couch chilling, and he was like, "No, I'm good. Keep that same energy. You can roll out. Just go ahead and do what you got to do." And she immediately said, "I said I was sorry." Well, I tell you what, if you're not gonna, and she went and stormed off. She said whatever she had to say and stormed off. Well, you know where to find me if when you come to your senses or whatever the case is. First of all, that wasn't a sincere apology. Not one time did you acknowledge how you made that man feel all day. All day long, this was the issue. So now he's falling back and he's relaxed. First of all, if you cannot add to a man's peace, because I don't want you to be my peace, because that means if you gone, my whole world is crumbling, my mind is gone, and all this. I don't want you to be my peace. I want you to be an addition to my peace. I don't want you to be the chaos factor or whatever. When you're at home, that should be your sanctuary. The world is we already at war with the world in whatever way that war looks to us in our particular worlds. We're already doing what we got to do to make sure that house is sustained. Make sure that woman is cared for, and she knows that you have a man that's working hard for our benefit, regardless of whether or not she's working or not. Doesn't matter. My whole point is no man wants to come to a household he has to go to war again in his household. So I'm saying all that to say this: if that man sees that that woman as peace, respects that man, knows how to talk to him, don't try to emasculate him in public or in private. She's careful with her words, and I'm glad Annecy said what he said about the power of a woman's words. A lot of people don't understand or comprehend how powerful a woman's word is, and her silence is just as powerful. How she wields that weapon or how she wields that shield A man can't be both your shield and your target. You see what I'm saying? But how she communicates with that man will make him feel like he's invincible, or it could tear him down to the soles of his feet. So for a woman, how she handles a man, it dictates how happy that household is going to be, because that man is going to ultimately make sure that woman's happy in that household. But if that woman is disrespectful, there's going to be very limited things that man is going to be willing to do, and that stay in that chaos. For one, number two, it's going to limit how he cares for that woman. So respect goes a long way when it comes to men. So,
Mm.
and like y'all both said, submission is not something you ask for. Submission is earned. And all men don't deserve that kind of submission, because he hasn't shown her that he's a safe space for her to live in her femininity. You know what I'm saying? So that she can be a benefit to him. So a lot of women, they think that submission means being subservient. Submission is powerful. And women don't understand that. Some women don't understand that. Submission is powerful. You always, y'all heard of that saying, and I'm gonna shut up and let y'all talk too. Is you get more what was it? You get more what was it say? You capture more fly,
What,
more.
more honey
Flies
with
with honey.
bees?
Yes,
You
thank
check
you.
more flies with honey, except rather than vinegar. Is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So
Dedrick,
it's the same thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
I like that you said that, but you know, in all sincerity, right?
Uh-huh.
And I think a lot of times, for me anyway, I'm just gonna give you this one example. I
Hmm.
like houses, right?
Right.
But the houses that I look at are beautiful.
Hmm.
They're not. They don't have any messes. Everything is where it's supposed to be. There's no chaos. There's none of that. And I'm like, man, I would love to live in that place. The truth is, if I go and live in that place, it's gonna become chaotic. It will be clean, but it will also be chaotic. Now, my point being is because you said peace, and I wanted our audience to understand this. Just because you get into a relationship where when you are you submit to your partner and you have a provider, doesn't mean that for men that because you have peace doesn't mean that that peace gonna be constant.
Right.
All right, it's not gonna be constant. I wanted to paint you guys a picture of the house so that you can understand this. Because nobody goes into a home where it's always everything is always in the place, always clean, always. It probably gonna be clean like 80 or 90% of the time. But that 10%, that 20%, it's chaotic. Okay? And that's the whole reason why it's clean because there was a chaos. So I just wanted to make sure that people don't get it confused because hey, I got into this conversation, I got into this marriage or this relationship, everything is great, and I like the fact that you said, she's not my piece, she's a contributor of my piece that I already have, and I love that because a lot of people think when you get married, we're gonna be all happy and this person's gonna make me happy. No, you bring your own happiness. Okay, that's why if you bring chaos, there's gonna be chaos.
Absolutely.
If you bring a lot of baggages, you're gonna have a lot of baggages. But the point being is, we need to always remember, just because you get into this beautiful relationship,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean that every now and then you're not gonna have some chaos.
Well, I
You
Oh,
know,
appreciate
I
you.
want to.
I
I want
appreciate you saying that. And if
right.
anybody thought that I
I
meant
want to
that it was
add
just
to
going to
that.
be, yeah. If anybody thought that that's what I meant, I'm glad he clarified that.
Yes.
So that's not what I meant. But thank you.
No, and I want to add to that. I'm glad that you brought that up. Because guess what? I've been with my husband for 16 years. It wasn't always glitters and unicorns. I've been a stay-at-home mom. What now is like 5 years, and then when the boys were born, that was like 12 years ago. I was a stay-at-home for 5 years then. And, there were struggles. There were times that, I could see in my husband that he was just trying to make things work because he knew, that we had a certain agreement before even having children, which was that I would always be a stay-at-home mom while the children were young, right? But again, it's I say that I back up what you say because it's not always going to be perfect. The house isn't always going to be clean, and I kind of think of that like as a mother with children, right? Before I had children, my house was immaculate. Everything had its place and it was never out of place, right? So to go on your example, now that I have children, there's things out of place. And I know that they're out of place because I have children and I don't really care about it anymore, you know? So it's like, yes, baby. Yes. So again, I just wanted to thank you for bringing that up to the point where, we have to understand that it's not always going to be perfect. Oh shoot.
Can I throw a question in there? Because I wanna see how you guys gonna answer this. Can I throw a question in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so you know, um, I think we were having a conversation the other day, not with you guys, but somebody else, and
Mhm.
I was just thinking about it, and is that sometimes two people said the same thing, right?
Right.
And they both mean the same thing, but one was rude, but the other one was gentle and very respectful. Does it matter how the person says what they said if it is true?
Well, yes and no. Yes, in that you have people who are more sensitive than others, who can't digest the exact same message, that just like you said. So, for instance, Maurice, he'll say one sentence. I'll say another sentence. But because Maurice said it a certain way or the tone, this other person over here got in their feelings because his tone was. But in the first question I will ask, well, was what he said true? That's my first question. Because if what he said was true, I don't give a crap how he said it. Because it's always said with Kevin Samuel. They get upset. Oh my God, he said this. Oh, I can't believe he said this. The very first thing that I'll ask them is what he said true. Like you're sitting here saying, okay, well, he could have said it this way. Well, first of all, you're trying to control how he feels. When he's passionate about something and he says it because he's passionate about it. So if he's passionate about it, he's going to say it the way he feels coming out. What he says is absolute truth. But because I use kid gloves and cotton ball tennis shoes, now you're digesting what I said better because it made you feel nice. The statement I will make with that is facts don't care nothing about your feelings. The truth don't care about
Mm,
your feelings. So if what
mm,
that person said was true, man or woman up, suck it up, buttercup, because that's just the truth. I don't care how you stuff it, how you. Sometimes it's good to be able to know the people that you're talking to. Now, if you
mhm,
personally know the person and you know their demeanor, you know they have strong sensibilities and they know they're super sensitive, then I have to approach that a different way. That's where the yes and no comes from. I have to come to them with the exact same message, but I got to approach it a different way because it'll help them digest it better. So some people are just more sensitive than others. That's just the God honest truth. I was raised by
Right.
my country grandma. My grandma said what she had to say, and she meant what she had to say. No matter how it came out, you was just gonna have to respect what she had to say.
mm,
That's how I grew thick skin. I don't cry over every freaking thing. But if somebody comes to me the wrong way, I'm gonna check them. But I will acknowledge that what they said was true. I don't have no problem doing that, but I'm gonna check them because you're not about to come to me in the old kind of way and disrespect me. So that's the difference for me.
I agree with Dedrick. I'm a very um uh what's the word? I'm a very blunt person, so I say what I say and I meant what I said. If I'm wrong, I will apologize and I say, you know what, I was wrong. I know that there are some people, if I have to make corrections, I have to, just let's say, even for my children, for example, I know that I can talk to William in one manner and he'll get it, but I might have to talk to Ethan in a different manner for him to get it. To get the it could be the same message, but I have to deliver them in a different manner. Because if I don't, then the message won't be delivered because they're not going to grasp it the same way because they're two different individuals. Um, but like Dedrick said, uh, facts don't care about your feelings. Truth is truth. And I've lost many friends and family members. That's why I got like 3 friends because I say what I say and I meant what I said.
Well, I'm not blunt at all. I try to take people's feelings into consideration and everything that I say. I want to make
No, the
sure.
hell you don't.
I'm very careful about how people's sensibilities are, and I try to develop my message. I'm a firm believer that whatever I feed people it has to be sugar coated with candies and unicorns.
Lord have mercy.
Oh man, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy.
Nah, for real. Like if anybody's blunt, I say things as they come, and I like defending that piece, and that was one of the questions I asked. Is what I said untrue? And if it's not untrue, it doesn't need to be picked apart.
Mhm.
If it's not
So there's a
true,
reason I asked this
then pick it
question.
apart.
Why? Well,
So
why you don't
the
treat me
reason
that
I
way,
asked this
Maurice?
question.
What?
Why you don't treat me that way?
What? How way? How way?
You blunt with me.
What are
You
you
ain't
talking
never
about?
nice to me.
Oh, everything I was saying earlier was all bullshit. I'm sorry. Did you miss that sarcasm? I thought everybody got that sarcasm. You
I'm
still live it.
joking.
Oh,
You
okay.
know I know you well
Oh,
enough for that. I'm just joking with you.
But as you were saying, Annecy,
Yeah, there's a reason I asked this question because I was watching a podcast. It's one of those like they have the videos and whatnot, and this woman was talking to this other guy, and both people made sense. And and a lot of time I feel that women is asking men to be more like women, and men are asking women to be more like men, but not in those exact words, right? Meaning, like you got to take it the way it is. Women's like, "Why you need to be more soft?" You know?
take it like this. No, be more
Yeah.
soft.
So it's like a battle between logic and emotion, right? It's
hmm,
a big battle, and it's been going on for a very long time.
and will
But the
continue.
truth is, the same way men is able to show emotion, women is also able to understand logic. It's just that it's take too great of an effort for them to keep thinking logically, and we don't want them to because they are women. And the same thing goes for a man. A man cannot keep showing emotion all the time. And you're gonna see. You see how we men we would be like, "Oh, it's okay. She's just trying to be more logic." Women, they'll tell you raw, like, "Man, he's a baby. He's a sissy." You know? No, I'm serious. They're gonna be rough on you. And while you're gonna be, and that's how the role is like gets so interchangeable in these type of exchanges. Now, so I think that this is just my conclusion is that there has to be some type of balance, right? A man cannot be emotional all the time, and a woman cannot be logic all the time. Okay, and they're both very important, very very important. So we have to be able to find the balance between when to show emotion and when to be firm. Do you guys agree?
Well,
I
yeah,
do.
balance is
I,
always necessary.
I would say this. I would add to this. Now, um, I was raised by a single father, right? I was raised by majority of the patriarch family, like my grandfathers, my uncles, things of that nature. I'm very self-sufficient. Hell, I used to jump out of airplanes in the army. Um, I know that I can do the things that I need to do if I need to do them, right? But at the same time, I understand that men have an innate feeling to be needed. Now, y'all can disagree with me if y'all want. That's fine.
Can I
But
just
that's my opinion.
fair enough. Could you also be say useful?
Yeah, useful, needed. You know, besides just wanted. You know how women be like, I don't need no man, but I want a man.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, like men want to feel needed. So like for example, if Billy comes home and I rearrange the whole house, he's gonna be mad at me because he's like, really, you moved all the furniture by yourself? You could have waited for me and I would have helped you do that. You know what I mean? And I always say this, you know, I know that I can open the relish jar when he's not home, but if he's standing next to me, I'm gonna hand him the relish jar. And it seems to be, and again, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to be something that is like you said, useful. Like I want to be needed. I want to be useful to you. I don't want to be with a woman that feels like she doesn't need me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, I'm a damsel in distress when Billy's around. Now, when he ain't home, I done chopped down a damn tree, moved the houses 2 inches to the left. I done did all type of shit while he wasn't home. But when he home, I asked him, "Hey, babe, oh my God, I can't get this jar open. Can you open this for me?" You know, um, but I just feel like men have that urge or that feeling to be useful and needed as opposed to just wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But I always say this too, in retrospect, it's like if every day that he came home and I had dinner ready, if every day he came home and I had dinner ready and he said, well, I didn't need you to cook. After a while, am I gonna keep cooking?
No.
I'm not
No.
gonna keep cooking.
Nope.
I'm gonna say, well, there's some bread, there's some lunch meat, mayo. Help your
Right.
damn self.
You're right.
You know, so it goes both ways, and you know
Mm-hmm.
that goes back to like the yin and yang, and we balance one another, and we're supposed to be with one another for a freaking reason.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Mrs. Fields, what do women mean when they tell a man to, just be a man? What does that mean
I
from your
don't know.
perspective?
I don't know. No, I'm being honest. I don't know. Because here's the thing: it's like a lot of times when a woman if a woman says that, it's almost kind of like that, you know, a real man would, a real man this. And
Right.
everything after she says a real man is everything that she expects that makes her life easier and not his.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, you know, we know the basic functions of a man, and that is to become a husband, to be successful, to have a family and build a legacy, and to live out to his dying years. That's my perception of a man. But my perception of a man is not, oh, you got to pay all these bills and you got to do this and you got to do that. No, I mean, hell, I cut grass. I changed the oil in my truck. Like this is we gonna just do what we gotta do. Don't matter. Now again, going back to what I said. Now if he's home, I'm not doing it. Hell no, baby. I need my oil changed. All right, baby, I got you. Now, but if I had to do it myself, I can. But I got a husband, so I'm not doing it. No different than my husband doesn't have to come home and cook dinner. My husband doesn't have to come home and fold clothes or do dishes because all of that's done. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So all that's done. Matter of fact, I got it down to a science. Dinner's done by the time he walks in the door, like on the money. On the money. I'm like, oh, did Dad be home about 4:30? All right, so about 2 o'clock, I'm gonna start prepping and I'm gonna get everything done. My dinner was done at about 4 o'clock today.
I didn't get to put my 2 cents on the chivalry. Is chivalry dead? But Mrs. Field, you made some really great point. But if I were to be away and ask my wife to go do the oil change, she would look at me sideways to Sunday. she she would not even be bothering with this.
No,
But
no, hold on, real quick, just for clarity. I said if I had to, I
I,
could do it.
no,
I'm
I feel you. I feel
self-sufficient.
you. No,
But because I
and I
have a
agree.
husband, yeah, but because I have a husband, I say, hey, the oil needs to be changed in my car. Hey, can you wash the car? Or, hey, can you go fill the gas tank? Because I got somewhere to go tomorrow. So those are the things that he takes, upon himself to do. So I was just I was being funny.
No, I got you though. But I wanted to say something about is chivalry is dead because I heard what she said and how men wants to be needed, you know, um and I think that's the whole thing with chivalry is that we want to be nice to women all the time. Why do we want to be nice to them? You know, especially nowadays. Why do we want to hold the doors? Why do we want to be the one driving? Why we want to help them with the grocery? Why all of this?
But
I was listening to this guy just a sec. But I
no,
was
go
listening
ahead.
to this guy, and he said because it was a video in Creole. I'm gonna try to translate it. He said basically, us men, we are out here begging these women to come and take our money. He said, he was like, no, just come with me. Just don't go with this guy. Go with me. Come with me, and then you can take my money. Don't take his money, but just take my money. You know. He said, and after that, you can give me headaches. You can do whatever you want. Just do that. And he was just picturing a picture and how we men we act when we try to be with a woman. And I'm talking about men that actually pay bills. I'm not talking about the young boys out there, playing cute and being all handsome. I'm talking about like grown adults with bills, and they going after these women, and they have bills, and you're gonna have to help them out with the bills. All for what? Right? That's what he said. Not my words, his words. And I go back to the whole thing with chivalry. Why do we do all of these things? Why do we feel like we need to do these things? Okay. Personally, I open the door. I don't care who it is, men, women. I will open the door for you. I will hold the door for you. But if you don't make it close enough, I'm gonna let it go. You know, I'm
It's
not gonna
important.
lie to you.
It's
I'm
important. It's
gonna let
important.
it go.
Yeah, it's important to do that little trot. Like if they're too far away and they're holding the door, and they don't start doing that little trot where they start like
Yeah,
running.
that's it. That's it. I'm
I'm
out.
Hold on.
letting you open the door. I need to see that. I need the effort. I need
If
Or
I don't
you
see
to
any effort, I'm letting it go.
or when you waiting for them to cross to go someplace on either
yeah,
side or
Knees to
whatever,
chest.
they need to.
yeah, yeah.
Knees to
I
chest.
don't need all that effort. Just look
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
trying to
Just,
speed
just
up.
look,
Just
just
look.
look like it. Just look like
Just
you do it. You
No,
might
go
be a
ahead.
little slower as you walk, but I need you to actually just look like you're moving, like you understand. I'm waiting for you. That's what I need. I need that. That's it.
Exactly, because that's what I do. If somebody waiting
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah, just some sticky
Oh
down.
yeah. I got you. Yeah, I see you waiting. I'm gonna do my best to get across as quickly as I can. That's the
But
message that needs to be delivered. Yeah.
I wanted to add something to that. So I'm 5'10", I'm a tall lady.
What?
For a woman.
She flexing on us, man. Flexing on us. That's what's up. That's all right.
But no, I say that to say, do you know how many times I've offered to help a shorter woman to get something off the top shelf and have been looked at like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, damn, I was just trying to, excuse me, ma'am, do you need help getting that? I mean, you got to climb. You like 4'2". I'm 5'10". I can grab it for you.
Yeah, you
and
can.
they
I don't need
literally
your
will look at
armpit.
me.
I don't need your armpit in my face.
Yeah,
Right. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Fuck you then. I just wanted to say that to point out that it's not just y'all men that go through it. It's some of us too, because I'll just be like, I was just trying to help.
Y'all still haven't answered my question, fellas. That's for the fellas. Why do we do it?
What do we do? What?
Oh, you guys didn't hear my question from
Oh,
earlier?
as far as fight.
Why do y'all feel that innate need to
give money away to women?
Yeah, or help?
Or Ben Chivalry.
Help.
I would say two things. There is a certain type of need to belong that's inside men. Like we want to belong to something. And part of belonging is being able to be held in the right light amongst your male peers and be acceptable and desirable to females. So there's that, whatever game that you need to play in order to create that reality, that's what's driving us to do that. And I forgot my second reason, so you can go.
Okay, so and men who were raised in a semi-decent to decent environment, we also have, like Marie said, but we have a need to be acknowledged. We have a need to feel wanted. We all we have a need to be needed, and that's a fact. No man wants to be in a situation where the woman makes him feels like he's worthless or doesn't have a place in her life. So in regards to chivalry and stuff like that, and I'll say it from my perspective, is that when I open a door for a woman, I like to see the smiles on their faces. I like to see the thanks or hear the thanks. I like that. I like to know that, and especially in this day and age, a lot of women are surprised sometimes when they see that you open the door or you pull the chair out, or they see me and my lady out on a date and they see the things that I do, and stuff like that. They'll smile. They'll do a little silent smile, or you'll see their head nod in some kind of approval, and stuff like that. So I like being able to make the opposite sex smile or have
be happy.
Kind of,
yeah, be happy. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it makes me feel good. Like this when I'm in the service industry that had happened to have a product. I like putting smiles on people's faces. Now that's just me personally, but as a man, it also makes me feel good that I have the approval from other people that what I've just done or what I've just presented or what I've just said has a positive effect on them. For women, it's an innate thing. I like making women happy. I just like that they're happy to be in my presence, be around me, want to find an excuse to be around me or call me or whatever, because it means that I'm doing something right.
Sounds pretty selfish to me, Dedrick. Don't you think?
It is. It is
very selfish.
But
real quick though, can I interject for 1 second?
Right.
He asked, why do men feel the need to do that? So while I was listening to you, and especially like for you, Dedrick, I know that your grandmother raised you.
Yep.
Right. And so what would you do for your grandmother? Those are things that you wanted to appease your grandmother. You wanted to make sure she was good, right? You know, us living with our the matriarch, we want to, and we are, well, I'm sorry, I can't say we because I'm a woman. You guys are pretty much trained to respect the matriarch, even down to my household. And this is just something that's popping in my head in the conversation. Even in my household, as a married woman with, all my children belong to my husband. I'm a married woman. And the respect that my husband shows me spills over into my son. So the same thing that my husband does for me, not in a cringe way, let me make that very clear, are the things that my sons will do for me. So let's say, for example, if my son asks, "Hey, Ma, you all right? You've been real quiet today," and I'm like, "You know what, babe? I got a headache, right?" And next thing I know, William will come out or Ethan will come out, and they'll have 2 ibuprofens and a glass of water because they see their father do that. Right. So I think, I hope that I'm clearing up Anna's question, because it's not so much about like how you feel doing it, but why do y'all do it? And I think it's more of a programming.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
The matriarch society.
Yeah, I couldn't remember his exact question. I was going off of what Maurice was saying and expounded on that, because I couldn't remember the actual question itself, because I like being direct and focused on what was actually being asked. So I apologize if I didn't directly answer your question. That wasn't my intention. Yeah.
So what do you think about that, Maurice?
He answered.
This is hold on, wait. This is evidence and proof she don't listen to the word I say.
Okay,
we're going wop every time I start saying.
Okay, so Annecy, what was your question in a nutshell?
Well, so it's just it just seems to me that us men.
Was your question?
My question, okay.
Yeah.
My question was, why do we do it? Why do we feel the need to do it? Right?
Oh, okay.
But the reason I was saying that, it seems to me that as a species, or I should say a sex, the male, I think if women would stop to wanting our needs or needing our needing our helps, I'm sorry, I think we would die out.
Yeah.
I feel like this is something that we need to survive. We do it every day. Like, I'm like right now, I'm in the process of doing a renovation. I know for a fact, if I was living in the house by myself, I'll leave it the way it was. I want to do all of that stuff that I'm doing right now. I'm doing it because I want to see my wife smiles. I want to see my daughter happy. I want to do it for those people. But at the same time, I'm doing it for selfish reasons. Because I want to feel good. And that's what I wanted to hear from you guys, is that you want to feel good. Right? That's the reason we do it. We don't do it because, whoa, we want to help this person. No, we don't want to help that person. We want to feel good. That's it.
Wait, because that was the second part of what I was saying when you said it was for selfish reasons. I did agree, but it is for the benefit of others too. It is for the benefit of others too, because in me doing what I'm doing,
they benefit from our selfish ways.
Well,
I mean,
I like to go deeper. I'm sorry.
I mean, no, this
it may
goes,
be selfish, but that ultimately benefits other individuals. So it's a double-edged sword for me. So
I agree.
Yeah, this goes into the whole philosophical question of what's true altruism. Like, is it possible to be truly altruistic? Because anybody that does anything altruistic, they do it because it makes them feel good to do it, or else they wouldn't do it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, honestly, I mean, my conclusion in that, I don't care. I don't care. No, I don't, because I think more pragmatic.
It's an honest answer. It's an honest answer. I like honest answers.
Yeah, because if the person's like if the person is out to do evil, their intention is to do evil, but they end up doing a great good, I don't care. You know, I have a problem with the pragmatics of whatever happened, the results of whatever happened. If the results of the thing are problematic, then I have a problem with it. If the results of the thing are beneficial, then I have no problem with it. So your intentions could be great because there's all types of altruistic people and their intentions are amazing. They want to do great things, but they're causing great chaos. For me, this is no different than a villain or an evil person. Just because they feel like they're doing something good, but they're causing great suffering, it doesn't make any difference. You know, like Joker, I'm sure the concept, the idea of Joker thought he knew he was doing chaos, but it was making him feel good. The same reasons an altruistic person does these things, because it makes them feel good.
And he reveals the truth too. Just don't forget that. He reveals the truth in his own chaos.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say the last thing I heard was, and I wanted to address that because I'm a wife and I know how men feel about that. Like, I do things around the house and my husband could care less. Oh, you want to move this? You want to paint this? You want to do this? And he'll willingly do it. But he doesn't do it because he gives a damn. It could stay the same as far as he's concerned. But he knows it's going to make me happy. You know, just like I got chickens and ducks. He doesn't, that's not his thing. It's my thing. But he knows it makes me happy.
Self-preservation.
So right. Right. But again, on the flip side, it's about being reciprocal with that same thing, So the way that he makes me happy by buying me a couple of ducks or a couple of chickens is the same way I make him happy when he comes home and everybody is greeting him with love. The house is clean, dinner is cooked,
so appreciate
and ain't nobody nagging him. That's one of my biggest rules. Don't ask your daddy for nothing when he walk in this house. Nope. I don't do it. I at least let him get himself together, and then I'll be like, hey, by the way, the water. I'm just making something up right now. The water pipe burst, but it's not something that I put on him right away. You know what I mean?
Oh no, you tell me that right away. Water pipe burst in my house. I need to know right away.
I said I'm making it up as I go. I'm just saying that's not the first thing.
Nah, he's messing with you.
I know he always messes with me. You'll get used to me and Maurice. We have like a love-hate relationship.
I like that. I wish I get that, but it seems like everybody in my house calls me for everything, and I don't get no breaks.
Yeah, no, I don't do that. Listen,
my solve it all. So
my husband has been a teacher for 18 years. I've been with him for 16 years. I can tell you, I can count on one hand how many times I've called him on the job while he's at work. I figure it out. If it's really important, and I mean emergency, like, hey, I'm on the way to the hospital with one of your kids. That's a phone call. Other than that, I got it. I'll figure it out. And then I'll tell you about it when you come home. But I ain't about to bother you throughout the day. I got it. But again, and this is something that you don't know.
It's one of our kids. I just want to make sure we say that.
Yeah, our kids. Yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I didn't say that.
No, you didn't say that.
Oh, okay. One of our kids, like there's an emergency. Like other than that, I don't call my husband at work or bother him. No, I'll figure it out. And if I don't figure it, hell, look, you can ask that. I done talked to Dedrick. I done talked to Maurice. How many times I done called y'all sometimes? Hey, what's this? Or hey, I'm going through this, but Billy ain't available right now. Can you talk? Because I trust Dedrick, and I hate to say it, but I trust Maurice. I know Maurice is going to give me the raw truth. If nothing else,
that must have tasted really, really sour.
I mean, she just get nervous about me, but she hates the fact that a lot of times this guy know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you do. I give you that.
But she,
I
I make
give
her.
you that.
It's
You
not.
get on my nerves though, but I mean,
It's not just you. A lot of people get nervous about when I start speaking.
no,
Like,
I'm not nervous. You get on my nerves. There's a huge difference.
oh,
See, now Maurice adding on the stuff now.
Right, right.
It's
Now.
not what you said.
yeah,
It's how you say
Oh, okay, okay,
it.
okay, okay. And I'm gonna reword it then
The
one day.
tone, Maurice.
It was
It's
the
your
tone.
tone, my brother.
I don't know. I can't fix it,
Yeah,
bro. I've been trying to fix it for my
I
whole life.
know.
And it ain't going nowhere.
It's a good thing you're around people that accepts you for who you are.
You know what's wild? It depends who I'm talking to. Because like I said, I've been working with people my whole life. Like people, like I said, I used to work in a suicide board. I work with people with severe trauma, and I'm not speaking any differently. I promise you, I'm not speaking any differently. There's certain subjects I obviously stay away from, but I don't speak any differently, and I don't know. I get pretty good results. That's all I can say.
You're a very consistent man. That's very hard to find.
No, and I will give Maurice his props. I mean, he get on my damn nerves, but when he say what he say, sometimes I'll be like, he get on my nerves, but he right. But when
Consistently.
he wrong, I'm gonna tell him he wrong too. So that's what it is. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
you gonna if you don't get nothing else, you're gonna get the direct truth. At the end of the day, because like we're not about to cut cards with somebody and enable anybody. Because I remember in the early goings, we had somebody come up on here thinking that they gonna sit here and say whatever they want to say. They were shut down immediately. Like we don't play games with people like that, because there's a lot of people who are enabled by the people in their immediate circles, because they're afraid to say what needs to be said to them, right? So we love when we have debates and discussions and stuff like that, different points of view and stuff like that. But like Jessica said, if you wrong, we're gonna tell you dead wrong and why you wrong. It ain't gonna be no it's my opinion that you wrong. No, this is the reason why you wrong. And if you want to stay stuck, that's cool. But yeah, we gonna continue to tell you wrong. Sorry.
One of the main issues I have with tone checking,
Yeah,
and when people like it's not what you said, it's how you said it type people,
right.
is there's a danger in obfuscation. Like a lot of times, in order for it to present correctly, the truth is ugly. Anytime anybody's exposed to the truth, the first thing they say is "ew." Ugh. There's never a good feeling when you actually get exposed to truth that you didn't know. It's always this like, oh my God, really? Is that reality? So a lot of times when you try to cover it up, try to pacify it, make it a little bit more presentable to people, what you end up doing is you actually take off that edge that the truth needs in order for it to be truth. Like it needs to cut. A lot of times truth needs to cut. It needs to cut deep.
I
So
think I'm gonna agree and disagree on that.
yeah.
Reason for it is because I'm not gonna name and I'm not gonna say anything. So in case people are listening, but I know this guy who has few kids, right? And just like Maurice here, always lay it down just the way it is, right? And I would tell him often that you can't talk to all your kids the same way,
Kids are different.
because and no, that's why I'm saying, like, I agree and disagree. Like, you have to know which kids you can talk to a certain way, which one you can't talk to a certain way. How they gonna respond, because those are your kids. If they go and do some dumb stuff after you talk to them a certain way, dude, you're on the wrong, right? But there are some kids that can take it, and you can tell them just the way it is, and guess what? They're gonna be, yeah, Dad, you're right. There's some other kids like they're gonna storm off, and then before you know, you don't see them for days. But even though they know it's true, that's why I said I agree and disagree. So I think the tone of somebody's voice, like for example, the way he said it, he said, "Yeah, man, your mom was a whore." Let's say he went in and say, and he would say like, listen, me and
Oh
your
no!
mom, we had some really bad disagreements, and she tend to she tend to have a certain way of having different men in her life, and that was really hard for me. That's a different ways to say it. But when you go to her kids, the woman that raised this kid, and you go straight on their face and say, your mom was a whore, she did me wrong. And guess what? It is validated that what you said, because you are hurt. But at the same time, the kid didn't hurt you. His mother or her mother did. So therefore, when you're talking to that kid, you have to know what kind of kid you're talking to before you can say it to her. So that's my point. Okay, that's what I was trying to say.
I'll,
as
Again,
well as
I'll,
well as
go ahead.
context matters.
I'll concede to that one. I'll definitely concede to that.
Yeah, context also matters. So, like, let's say, for example, let's say a couple splits up and they're out doing their own thing, and then they get back together, you know, and something happens, it's like if you're gonna explain something to a child, you still have to kind of use kid gloves, but you also have to use context. Because just saying, oh well, now I'm mad, and your mother's a, you know what, you
Okay.
know,
But that's
then
not truth.
you're
That's not
painting a,
truth.
I'm, huh?
That wouldn't be truth. That's just like spite, right? You
But
angry at
that's what I mean.
yeah.
That's why I said context matters. Because some people will do it just because they're angry, right? Like,
But that's what I'm saying. That's not truth. That's spite, right? That's just you're trying to cause pain. You're not trying to deliver a
that's what I
message.
said.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Context matters.
Oh,
That's what I'm saying. So, like, if me and Billy broke up for 2 years, and let's say I went and had another kid, and then me and Billy got back together, him saying, well, your mom was just a, you know what, that wouldn't be applicable in that because we weren't together at that time, correct?
Mhm.
Hmm.
So that's why I said context would matter. In something like that, context would matter. That's all I'm saying. Because it'd be literally like, yeah, we was split up. I was doing my thing. She was doing her thing. And then we decided to get back together. And here we are. And
Mhm.
instead of throwing names and trying to disparage the other person.
yeah. I mean,
That's the only part I was making.
bringing up kids. I know there's a lot of times because one thing I've said to my kids ever since I can remember is I always tell them I'll never lie to them. Like I said, I don't care if it's Santa Claus. I don't care if it's Easter Bunny. I don't.
That's like,
I don't lie to them at all. I don't lie. And I remember one time my son was like, "Daddy, is this true?" I'm like, "I told you a long time ago. I'm not gonna lie to you." But then he'll ask me certain questions, and I'll be like, "Yeah, if I tell him the truth, it's gonna be more damaging than beneficial for this kid right now." I'm not saying I won't tell him, but not now. I'll tell you later. I said I want to talk to you about this, but not now, not at this age.
I'm gonna disagree.
Go ahead, disagree. I love disagree.
I'm gonna disagree. Not the fact that you would always tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Is the promise. I think for me, it's the promise.
Mm.
Making that kind of promise to a kid, they will hold you up to it. And
I like that though,
and,
because
and guess what?
yeah,
You're gonna find yourself in a situation where the truth could be so damaging that you might just like tell a white lie, and it's
nah,
still a lie.
yeah,
Okay, it's still a lie. A white lie is still a lie. So that's why I said I disagree to making promises. I can say, for me personally, I will do my very best to always tell you the truth instead of making a promise, because the reason I said it is because we're human beings,
nah.
right? We're human beings. We're flawed, and we make mistakes, and we break promises so often than anything else. But that again, that's just me. Okay, that's me who disagreed. I'm not saying that's the norm. That's just me.
Yeah, no. The reason I promised is because I knew I was going to follow through with my promise.
How could you know you're gonna follow
But
through? Do you know the
Hold on, hold
future
on,
though?
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
Hey, I'm making sure that
I'm answering the question though.
go
Like
ahead.
you presented, I'm answering the question. The reason I say it is because I know I'm gonna follow through with the promise. The like the concept of white lying to my kids, I just don't do it. I don't do it at all. I don't placate to them. Like I said, if it's something that I feel like it's gonna be damaging, I probably shouldn't tell them. But they're asking me this, I'll tell them straight up. Not now. Not at this time. I'm probably gonna tell you it, or I'm not gonna tell you at all. It's not for you for to know, even though I know the truth. You don't have to lie to protect somebody from information.
now I will agree with this part, and I caught that in your statement. If my kids ask me, I tell them the truth.
Mm.
If they ask me, I tell them the truth. So, for example, of course, I have young children. Well, I have one young child, two older children. But when they were younger, yeah, I did the whole Santa Claus thing. You know, I'm not about to steal their magic from them. But the day that they asked me about it, I told them the truth. Because for me, if they're anything like their mother, if I ask you a question, I already know the answer. I'm just waiting for you to validate what I think. So when they
Mm.
asked me, is Santa real? They already knew Santa wasn't real. Or they already knew the Easter Bunny or the Tooth Fairy or whatever. They knew it wasn't real. So they asked me. And I was like, okay, are you sure you want this answer? Yeah, I want this answer. Okay, so no. Your mom and dad been doing this shit all these years. You're welcome.
Now, don't mess it up for Monica.
No, I'm not messing up for Momo, you know. But again, I think the point is like once they ask you, and I don't know, maybe that's just my thoughts because I'm that way. If I ask you like, so if I ask Dedrick a question, if I ask Maurice a question or Annecy a question about something, I guarantee you I know the answer already. So don't lie to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because you looked into it yourself. You're just looking for
Confirmation.
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 Right,
Yeah, that's it.
right.
So
But
because
but I
my
think
thing,
I think you
people
guys
don't
missed
ask.
the part of what I said. Right? What I was saying is, how could you know the future?
Oh,
You
let me.
know, to make promises like this, you would have to know the future. Knowing yourself is one part, but knowing the future is something totally different.
I think
And
I can address.
that's where
Yeah.
I'm coming from.
No, I think I can address what you're trying to say. Now, just because I'm telling the truth doesn't mean what I'm telling is true. Let me say that one more time. Just
Mm,
because yeah. Let me say that one more time. Just because I'm telling the truth doesn't mean what I'm telling is true. Let's get an example. Um, I saw the car. I saw the blue car drive down the street. Right. That's the truth. Sir, that was a brown car. So what I said wasn't true. What I saw was a blue car, or at least what I thought was a blue car. So I'm telling the truth. But it doesn't mean what I had said was actually true. It means I gave the best representation of what I understood to be true. Because perspective is perspective, right? A lot of times when you perceive something or you see something or you explain something, it's the truth. You're presenting the truth.
no,
As
no, you
And
lie on a
Maurice,
loophole. You
no, no,
No.
no,
lying
no,
in a
no. It's not, no,
loophole.
no, no,
Maurice,
no. It's not a lie. It's not a lie.
It's lying in a loophole.
No, no, it's not a lie. No, no. What it is it's a
It's not the truth.
no.
It's
Oh,
not the
yeah,
truth.
that's what. Okay, all right.
they just,
Listen,
it just
listen. No, no, no. Hold on, hold on,
it
hold on.
just means that you're colorblind. That's all that is.
Find,
It's
find a
Listen.
different
All
example.
right,
That was
all
not a
right,
good
all
example.
right. Let
Not
me
a
get.
good
All right.
example at all.
Let me get a better example. That was off
okay.
the cuff. So imagine, they said pick the murderer out of the lineup. Now, how often do people pick the wrong person outside of a lineup?
More
It,
than.
it's more often than it should be.
Mhm.
Were those people lying when they picked that person? Good majority of them probably weren't lying. They were telling the truth. But what they chose or what they actually said wasn't true.
That's still
Is
not
that
good. Okay,
Nah, I
I'm
can't
gonna, I'm
rock
gonna
with
say
you on
this.
this one, bro.
I'm
all right?
gonna say this to you. There's somebody said something like this to me once. They say that if you argue right Even if you're wrong, you will never be wrong.
What?
No,
Exactly. See?
I know exactly what he's saying because as I know someone who, if they told you something, they say it so convincingly, you're not going to argue with them. You're going to accept it as the truth. Now, and it could be something mundane, something obscure or whatever, but because they were so convincing in their argument, some people won't even argue with them that they're wrong because they're just going to accept it as truth because their argument was so good. They were so
Yeah.
convincing in what they
But
had
that
to say.
doesn't mean that they were true. You see what I
Exactly.
mean?
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
for example, by you telling your kids, I will always tell you the truth, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, 99.9% of the time, you tell them the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still that 0.01%.
Where I intentionally lied.
Yeah,
That's what.
or you
No, no,
colorblind. But
Or you
anyway,
no, 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 no,
omitted
no.
the truth.
yeah, you tell the truth. Guess what? Let me. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just speaking on you for now.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just saying that your kids, they are more likely to trust and believe what you said because of the record that you've hold, right? But at the same time, to make my point is, you cannot know the future because there's gonna be something that's gonna happen where you cannot tell your kids the truth
I want
because
to.
it's
I
gonna be, and again, I'm not saying that you're gonna lie. I said you cannot tell them the truth,
Right.
What?
right?
Hold on, wait. I want to know this. Cannot. Is there an intention behind it or not?
Yeah,
No,
I wanted to
because you
ask.
trying to protect your kid.
Right. So
Okay,
let's say,
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
but didn't
When
I
you
give
try
an
to
example of that?
protect your kid as a parent, you will do almost anything.
But didn't I give an example of that already?
okay,
No, it was
but
bad.
No. I said, there's certain things I won't be able to tell you about it right now. But when you get older, we can have a conversation about it.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
missed that.
no, yeah. So that's how you address those situations where, not right now.
What if
I
they
was
are
gonna
old
say
enough?
because
What
like
if they are old enough and you know it's still gonna break them? What do you do?
Then I tell them I know the truth about this, and I'm not going to tell you about it. It's not. I'm just.
But you
but
said
It's
you're
really.
always gonna tell them the truth. So
Yeah,
see,
no,
we
right.
come back, we come down full
fine.
circle.
I mean, fine. I guess that's the one loophole then. In that one
Well,
example,
okay,
that
at
one
least you acknowledge it.
minority,
That's
I'll accept.
like sometimes Monica will draw a picture. I don't know what the hell it is, but she wants to put it on the refrigerator, and I gotta pretend like it's the freaking Mona Lisa. And because I know if I don't say that her art is beautiful, it's gonna hurt her feelings. Like, I mean, so I get what he's saying. Like, at some point in time, you may not blatantly lie to them, but you may omit how you really feel about something that's going on or something that they've done.
Now, if
Listen, if you tell me that you gonna tell your baby that his picture was ugly and
man,
you ain't want it on the fridge, I'm gonna just sign off right now.
I'm already feeling the shame and the guilt being thrown at me. Hold on one second. Let me answer first. Let me
You
answer.
hung them damn pictures on the fridge.
I'm gonna tell you right now. To this day, I still have the drawings of my little kids.
Mhm.
And not all of them was cute, right? But they thought they was.
No, those things were ugly as heck.
Exactly. So, but
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
mean,
tell
but
them that it was ugly.
hold on. It was ugly
Did you
as heck.
tell them it was no? Did you tell them it was ugly?
All right, Your Honor, she's badgering the witness.
Did
Your Honor,
did you or did you not, sir, tell your children that the picture that you hung on the refrigerator was ugly?
Your Honor, I asked for some leeway to be able to approach the.
Are you
No.
gonna plead the
This is
fifth?
a yes or no
I'm not
question.
no.
I'm gonna
Yes
order
or
you to
no?
answer the
No.
question. You understand?
Jury,
I'm gonna have
I
to order you
move
to
to
answer the
strike.
question.
I move to strike. This is a yes or no question. Did
I
you tell
understand.
your babies that the picture you hung on the fridge was ugly?
No, because I have to.
Okay.
I have to
Yes.
set. No, I have
The
to set
the
up the
re- the
paradigm.
real answer is yes.
No, I didn't tell him it was ugly because I have to set up the paradigm. because the paradigm is I was judging them based on their abilities at the time, and for their abilities, it was beautiful. It was amazing what they were doing.
No, it
Hence why
wasn't.
I
No.
no
They were
So you
asking
lied.
you from
no.
your
You did.
perspective, not from the child perspective.
Remember
It
though.
was from your perspective.
No.
Remember, you said context though. You did say context,
I said
Jessica,
I said the
and that was
paradigm.
his context. His
That was the
context
But
paradigm.
he
is
said
for
that
their
he would
age.
never. Okay, but his context was that he would never lie to his kids. You
No,
lied to your kids when you hung
no,
that damn ugly ass picture on that fridge.
no. Because I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
tell you.
did.
No, I didn't. I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
why.
you did.
I'm gonna tell you
That's
why
why
I
you
didn't lie.
looking
You
correct
ain't
if
say,
you did.
you know what? I
Can I tell
love
you
you,
why?
son. Hold on, you ain't say I love you, son. This picture ugly as hell, but we're gonna put it on the fridge. You
No,
didn't say that.
no. What I
You said,
said,
"Oh, great job. Let me
what I
hang it on the fridge."
because it was a great job. It wasn't
But
not
it
a
was
great
still
job.
ugly.
Uh,
Was it
Listen,
ugly or was it
you
not
said
ugly?
earlier that these
Irrelevant.
things are ugly as hell.
They are ugly as hell. I mean, but based on like I look at Picasso paintings, I think they're ugly as hell. Doesn't mean he didn't do a great job.
Oh,
That's two
come
different
on,
things.
dude, come on.
Yeah.
Don't even
No,
take it there.
what we're
We were
talking about.
talking about in the child's merit, and you said it was ugly as hell.
How do you judge merit if you don't base it off their abilities? How do you judge merit?
You said
You
it
have
was
to
ugly.
you have to
You
think.
You
didn't.
said
You did.
I'm using
Listen.
your words against you.
No, you have to
Your
think
You
words.
didn't
this
tell
assumption.
your child. Wait.
Ho-
Time out.
Yeah,
Judge Jessica.
y'all been asking this
Judge
question.
Jessica.
You're not
You did not tell your
listen, you're not
child
asking-
this painting or this picture is ugly, so therefore you lied to him.
that is
But
not true.
you started with the premise of that you would never lie to your kids.
That is
We
not true.
are discounting. Yes, you did.
That's not true.
Yep. Am I lying?
What has
Wait,
happened?
no,
You haven't yet.
Dedrick, Annecy, am I
Allow me to
lying?
answer this question.
No,
You haven't yet allowed me to answer this question. Can I answer the
No,
go
question?
ahead, go ahead.
I asked
Let
Dedrick
me
and
hear what he
Annecy, not
gotta
you.
say.
Go ahead.
It's
All right.
probably gonna be another lie, but go ahead.
Like I said, the only way you can judge merit is based off the context of it. That's it. So, like, everything's in growth. Like, if you have a student and you teach them martial arts, right?
What you said.
Listen, when you have a student, you teach them martial arts, and you understand you're involved in the growth process, which is what raising kids is about. You're in the growth process. It's not lying to tell them that they're doing a good job for where they're at. Now, if they're they've been doing this thing for who knows how long and they're not getting any better, yeah, there's no more saying they're good for where they're at. Now, if you start saying they're still good, even if they've been doing the same thing for 3 years and they're not getting any better, then there's no growth there. There's nothing good about not growing, right? There is beauty in growth. All right. You know what?
You know, I've never heard a more beautiful lie than this one.
Because that's definitely not what you said. You lied.
Listen,
Oh, you
I've
lied.
seen teachers, right? I've seen teachers
what Maurice
after
did
they
say
tell their
though,
kids, "Oh
what
yeah,
Maurice did
you
say
did
though,
such a great job," and then they go and talk to the peers, and like, man, that kid was horrible, right? Right behind the kid's back, but then in front of the kid, they're
no,
gonna be
what
like, "Yeah,
Maurice
he
said.
was so
Hold
great."
on, hold on. What Maurice did say, he said it was
Okay.
beautiful for their age. That's what
I
he
mean,
did say. Because for their age at that time, for them to create whatever it was they scrabble they
Dedrick,
created,
I heard him.
No,
I heard
you
him.
that's
you
what he
no,
said.
you're
What
doing
I'm
too much,
saying
Dedrick.
is,
No,
he
that's what
knows
he
that's a
literally
damn
said.
lie.
He said for their
He
age.
said,
He said it was beautiful for for the age.
Dedrick,
He did
no, hold on. Time
say.
out.
Okay.
He said he would not lie to his kids.
No,
So
I
I don't
heard
give a
that.
damn
I
how
did hear
old
that.
they are.
No,
If
I
the
did hear
picture
that.
was ugly, he should have
Yeah.
said the picture was ugly and not hung it on
No,
the fridge. That's
no,
the
he
point
wasn't.
I'm making.
He
So
wasn't
look,
gonna feel his child
we
dream.
don't do
I
black,
think he should
we
not
don't
have
do
ever
gray.
said that picture was ugly. I think that's where they got him.
Yeah.
You should have lead with, man, they're always beautiful. Then you
no,
would
that's
become
a lie.
delusional.
No, that's a
Then you
lie.
would become
Go ahead.
delusional. And I
That's a
know
lie.
you're not a delusional man.
No, no,
See,
no.
this is how you get away with it. You say, "Oh, this is so interesting. What is it?" That's how you get. That's how you
Yeah,
get
that's what I
away
do.
with that.
I don't lie to
You,
them.
you
I'm like,
don't. You
ooh.
don't. You don't lie to them. You just ask them a question. Oh, this is so interesting. What is it? What is that?
I
That's
mean,
how you get away with that.
Dedrick, I think after hearing you, my next child, I will never lie to him or her.
I do it. I do it with my mom. I be like, oh, that's
What
special.
is it?
What is it? And she be like, Ma, it's this. And I be like, oh, okay. She's like, I'm
Why
gonna
she
hang it on
turn?
the fridge. Oh, okay,
Why she
great.
turns
You
it
hang it on
upside
the
down?
fridge.
What is
yeah,
this, Momo? What's
y'all really making me go back in my brain to figure out what I said to my kids at the time. And it was, yeah, I'm going back,
If you
and
have to
I'm
go
like,
back, it was a lie.
no, it wasn't. It wasn't that it was a
Yes, it
lie.
was. Yes, it was.
You
You
just trying to
lied.
figure out
You
which lie it was.
Y'all a bunch of liars. Y'all trying to make me a liar too. Stop it. I ain't no liar like all y'all. All right? I ain't lying to my
lied.
kids.
Hey,
I'm just trying
Maurice
to
is
You
remember
saying
made me
game
what
brother
I
snort.
has
said at the
game.
time. Because
Oh,
Maurice, we
I
just
said,
don't want to go in that boat alone. We just want to
I
take you with
know,
us.
misery loves company. I know it. I
That's
know it.
right.
Y'all a bunch of miserable liars. Y'all want me to be a liar like you? No, no, no.
You know who you sounded like just now when you just said that. Talking about,
What?
you're just a bunch of miserable liars. Miserable
All liars.
liars. You're just very miserable
you're fake
All
news.
liars. And you know where the liars come from? They come from China.
liars. These are the best
China,
liars.
China, China.
These are the best liars
I
who's
love
ever
China.
lied a lie before in their lying lives.
Yeah.
It's okay, Maurice. We forgive. We was just pointing
Oh
out that
man.
you can't say that you never lied to your kids because you
I,
have.
I'm telling you,
My point
I
was
didn't
that
lie.
you cannot make that promise to your kids. That's it.
Right.
I didn't
I
lie, and
think
I won't lie.
promising kids certain things is just terrible. Like for example, I told my daughter that I'm gonna take her to the beach, not the beach, but to swimming lessons this week. Guess what? The week is going and it's almost over, and I don't see it happening. And
Mhm.
now I feel bad that I told her that I will.
Oh, so you
Mhm.
gotta say your truth with more contingencies. You gotta say
Yeah, but I'm not
it.
like you though.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, because listen, my kids are supposed to come see me next month, but I know I have limited control of what's going to happen. As you say, I can't see the future, right?
hmm
And I told them straight up, like, as long as everything goes well, you'll be here.
That's right.
All right, we're gonna.
That's the
Now
contingency.
I will say that I'm a uh Dedrick and Maurice know. I'm like a no filter type of person. So like the way that I talk to y'all with a little bit more PG is the same way I talk to my children. Like I don't shelter my children.
Oh, you
Um
calling us children now?
no, that's not what I said. I said the same discussions that I have with you guys as grown
Yeah.
men, I have with my sons who are 12 and 13. But more PG, obviously, because they're 12 and 13.
Right,
But I
right.
really don't hold nothing back from them. If they ask me a question, like they can ask me a question about sex, they can ask me a question about anything, and I'm gonna answer them because again, when you ask me, I know there's a curiosity, and I know that I would rather tell you what I know versus you getting it from someone else. So in
Agreed.
those instances, I do have to be like blunt and forthcoming and truthful with you because I don't want you getting the wrong information from someone else. But then again, there are also times where you still kind of curve it. I'm gonna say curve it because you can still be honest without being blunt and just like traumatizing somebody, right? Where
Right.
you kind of curve it to allow them to know these are these consequences or this is what can happen or whatever the case may be. But you can still have those honest conversations. So
Yes,
again,
yes, yes.
is yes, you want to be honest with your kids, but you also have to know the age appropriateness and what they can understand and what they can handle and how they're going to perceive it, if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
yeah. No, if you feed a baby meat, they're gonna choke and die. Like
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
yes, it's that simple.
right.
Again, I
Feed,
never said for you to lie to your kids. I said you cannot make promises that you will always tell them the truth. Not telling them the truth is not a
I don't
lie.
know. I don't know. Okay.
Not telling your kids the truth is not a
Hold on.
lie.
I was down with your example regarding the swimming lessons and all that stuff. I get that. There's a lot of factors that are outside your control, but you have full control whether you lie or not. So
I understand that.
that's
But there's
where
gonna be, I'm just saying, like, there are things that are so bad that you like, man, I cannot tell him this truth.
I
Again, it has nothing to do with you telling a lie. You just cannot tell them this truth.
I don't
I
know. I can't foresee because there's some pretty bad stuff I already have in my mind that I might have to tell my kids. I don't foresee anything that it's that bad because if it's true, like for me, like the truth will set you free. That is
So
the
they
reality.
say,
No, the
but
truth will set you free.
it could set you free to your death.
Okay, but like there's a little bit of survival of the fittest.
True.
Like you gotta allow your kids to be exposed to all
Well, we're
types of.
not in the jungle, so
That's a problem. We need to be a little bit more resilient so we can survive in the jungle if necessary. Like
well,
there is a certain aspect of like I said, I can't think because it's almost like I'm 40 years old. I can't imagine somebody withholding the truth from me because they're trying to protect me from danger. That's wild to me, right?
so
Like
I
even if it was coming from my father or my mother, like you're gonna withhold it to protect me from what?
well, I'd like to present an example, and it's from a woman's perspective. So, for example, my sons, I have a 12 and a 13. Well, they'll be 12 and 13 this year. My sons don't even know that I dated men before their father.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they don't know. I don't think they're stupid, in other words, but it's not conversations that we have. You know what I mean? Um, there have been some things, and I'm not going to put it on here, but there have been some things that mommy's not too proud of that she has gone through. But my children don't know it. You know what I mean? So a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes there are certain things that we keep from our children because it's simply not important for them to know. So that doesn't make it a lie. It makes it an omission. But then people say that omission is the same thing as a lie.
Well, I can't.
So some things, your kids just not gonna know about you, or you might not be very forthcoming because maybe you don't want them to look at you differently. I'll give an example I feel comfortable giving. I got locked up for 3 months over something I didn't do. I was stupid. I didn't snitch. I should have snitched, but I didn't snitch. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't snitch. But if I knew then what I know now, I would have snitched. But anyways, I was locked up for 3 months. But my kids don't know that.
it sounds gangster.
But you just put it out on the internet. You're gonna find out.
That's
Well,
for
look.
sure.
But I said that's not one that I mind sharing because I think that one day I will share that with them.
Cool.
Well,
If
you
I
just
need
did.
to be able. But what I'm saying is to say, but that's more of a more age appropriate thing. At 12
Right,
and 13,
right.
that's not something I need to talk to them about. Now,
True.
let's say
Right.
16, 17 comes. Let's say maybe they're hanging around the wrong crowds or something like that, the wrong people. And I can say, hey, sons, come here. Let me tell you something, baby. Yeah. Your mama ain't always been your mama, okay? This is what happened. And I'm going to need y'all not to do this because I experienced this. So I can give you that truth. But it's not something that I'm volunteering at this age or otherwise unnecessarily.
Right. But that's one of the reasons why I don't believe in that omission is the same thing as lying all the time. Because again, you have to put it in its proper context. Because like you said, there's certain things that are just not age appropriate. There's certain things that there's a time and a place for everything. You know what I'm saying? Just because you didn't mention it at this particular time doesn't mean you won't mention it at that particular time. So sometimes there's a time and a place for everything. You don't need to tell everybody everything all at once. Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? That's not something I don't feel like is a smart thing to do because kids'
No,
mind,
what
kids' mind.
I was gonna say
Huh?
we meet people like that all the time. Like
Of course you
you run across that person and you know everything about their life from ever since the time they were born. And
I know, but that
yeah,
doesn't mean they should have done it. They
yeah,
just
yeah.
simply
No,
mean,
no. We meet people like we don't like those people.
no.
We don't like those people.
I'm saying, but that's true. That's what I'm saying. You just don't. There's certain things that you just don't unload on people
Yeah.
because of time appropriateness, age appropriateness, and sometimes it just ain't somebody's business.
Yeah.
It really ain't
And
nobody
I
else's
think
business.
that's the point I was trying to make.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really easy to make promises, very easy, but it's very hard to keep them. You know, very hard to keep them because guess what? You're gonna be trying to turn your head around, see how you're gonna make that promise a reality. Like right now, I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get her to that, swimming lessons. Because I said I'm gonna get her to the swimming lessons. And now it's bothering me because now it makes me a liar.
Mhm.
And I don't like to be a liar. So that I think that's my point. It's just like making promises. I think my thing was more about making promises than lies, um, than telling the truth, I should say.
Look,
Um,
as a mother, I just want to give this one gem. Never promise your kid nothing.
oh, I know. That's why it's killing
Because
me
they
right
will
now.
hold you to that shit to the end.
See,
You could
continue.
tell them, listen, you could tell them at 9:59 p.m. that you're gonna go to the park at 7 a.m. with them, and they ass is gonna be up at 6:30 ready to go to that damn park.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Don't you
You better
promise
know
them
it. You better
nothing.
know it.
yeah.
You
You
just
Listen,
know,
say, we'll see, baby.
y'all need to worry. Y'all need to work on contingencies when you say your messages.
yeah,
Contingencies,
that's the thing.
because like as long as everything works out, my favorite one is the plan is. That means sometimes plans change.
Nah.
No, the
Mine
plan
is,
is
we'll
that
see.
we gonna go
That's
this.
my words.
Yeah, I
We'll
mean
see.
we'll see works. We'll see works.
No,
But
I said to her next week, and that was last week. And guess what? On Friday, she said, "Daddy, why we not going to the
oh
to the
yeah,
swimming
yeah.
lessons?" I'm like, "It's Friday." I said, "Next week." And
It's,
guess what? Every day after that, she kept asking.
it's not his fault. He's a new parent.
I-
He's a new
eh,
parent.
All
Listen,
right.
I knew,
Yeah, he
and guess
learns.
what?
Well,
The
that's why
funny
I
thing
wanted to
is,
drop that gem.
I never actually make her promises. That's the first time. And
Yeah,
guess what? Because I know better. And I don't know why
Hmm.
I said it, but I said it. So
You gotta
Look,
follow
I
promises
don't
through.
care if it's
tough.
I don't
Yeah,
care
you
if
gotta
it's
follow through now.
Kool-Aid. I promise to get
Yeah, I
you
know.
Kool-Aid. Don't even promise that. Don't promise nothing.
I don't
All
think you
right,
should
time
be
out.
making any
Time out.
promises to
Let's pause
nobody.
for station
That's it. Period.
identification. Time out. Let's stop. Pause for station identification so we can go ahead and segue on out. So give me just a second. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Okay. Anyway, so we're gonna segue on into this thing. We're gonna introduce our sponsors for the show and everything. One, first of all, is Meet the World Image Solutions, where you can get your literary needs met. Founded by none other than Dr. Rodney M. Lawson. Meet the World Image Solutions is a literary services company where you can get your editing done, your ghostwriting, and a very big, nice amount of services for your book. You can be an up and coming author, aspiring author. You can be an established author who's just looking to get their work sharpened up. But it's Meet the World Image Solutions. You can find her, leave her a message so she can give you a consultation at www.mtwimagesolutions.com and let her know that you heard it here, right here on Soul Flow Conversation. Also, once again,
Get it together, man.
I didn't touch the computer. I promise you. I didn't touch the computer, man. Once again, it's www.mtwimagesolutions.com and whatnot. Next, we have Mr. Craves Cookies as my personal baby. You can check me out, follow me, and whatnot. Send me a message, and I'll send you a full menu with my information on there, so you can place an order for your homemade gourmet cookies. I have over 54 different kinds of cookies and bars. I don't do cupcakes. I don't do cakes, and I'm definitely not going to ship them if I did. So, yes, meet the world Image Solutions, where it's a party in your mouth. Check me out on Instagram at Mr. Craves Cookies and on TikTok at the Mr. Craves. Check us out. And this I gotta get some new.
All right. I guess I'm up. Hopefully with no interruptions. Yeah, no, come check out my YouTube channel, Maxi Studio Music. Lowercase M-A, capital X, lowercase S-I, Studio Music on YouTube. Come check out my my wonderful songs here. Let me know what you think. I want you to like, subscribe, so you get the newest stuff coming out. And yeah, like I said, let me know what you think.
Thank you very much,
Maurice. Get it together.
I didn't do nothing. I didn't do a thing. Good Lord. There's a ghost in the machine. Oh my God. Anyway, thank you, Anderson. I appreciate you, brother, and whatnot. Thank you very much for your stopping by and whatnot. Thank you for coming to the stage. All right. So you can stop laughing, Jessica. So
she waking up the whole house. She waking up the whole house right now.
Oh my God. That's just crazy. That is crazy. And I literally didn't touch the computer, bro. I literally did. I'm just like, what is going on?
You one of the people in the office. Like, I only hit the print button once.
Right. And somebody looking at you, there's a book coming out of the printer.
But I only hit it once, I swear.
Lord have mercy. But yeah. Oh, good Lord.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Those false starts are real.
Okay, I'm done.
No, you're not.
Big girl back.
No, you're not. Oh. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is live and it's real. That's how that works. So
no edits.
My stomach hurt. Oh, God. Okay, I'm done.
That was crazy. Oh man. But anyway, so I'm gonna do my own little summary. But like I said from the beginning, we were talking about chivalry. Chivalry is not dead, ladies and gentlemen. And ladies, just because you don't see it, probably is because something happened to make it go away. Maybe you were the cause. Maybe. So yeah, chivalry is not dead. It lives in a lot of us, more than you really think. Because I see it every day, and I'm one of the ones who still do it. Anything that is chivalrous, and stuff like that. And no, we don't think that you can't. You're not capable. We don't think that. That's not what chivalry is about. Chivalry is about respect. It's about making sure we show you all love in a way that is non-threatening, and it's in a way that shows you that, hey, this is for you. We want to show you some respect and all that good stuff. As far as submission, I think I broke it down earlier in the show about what I felt like submission means. It does not mean subservient, being subservient. It does not mean bowing down. It does not mean that you're below or beneath someone else. That's not what submission means. Submission is actually quite powerful if you understand the principles surrounding submission. So it's not what you think it is. But um, and also the last thing I'll say is if any guy that you are potentially trying to date even says that they are seeking a submissive woman, that simply means that they do not understand what submission means and their part in getting submission from a woman. It's not about asking for it because if you have to ask, you haven't earned it. So I'll land my plane on that. All right, Maurice.
I guess on the topic of chivalry, is it's only dead to those that don't take part in the social contract. There's a social contract between men and women and how they engage. In a person, if you're looking for a certain behavior out of man in public, we're not talking about between close ties, like in public. Usually, it's because you're not, observing the social contract, and part of that because most men they they don't, they're not out here to try to not show. If anything, they're wired to do not be chivalrous. So, what I do see in society is a lot of what I see is less ladylike behavior, and that's what I see more of. Right? Everybody likes to talk about chivalry and gentlemen's, but not too many people out here talking about whether there's enough ladies out here. So it's a two-way street. We need to get along to be able to make it work. My views on submissions are a little bit different. I do think it is an important conversation to have between you and a woman on what it means for submission, or else women do have a tendency to sneak away into the plausible deniability realm. So the conversation needs to happen. If it comes out him saying, I'm looking for a submissive woman, he just may not necessarily have the tact or the words to be able to express himself appropriately. But I don't think it's a definite negative on his character or his intentions. But I guess to go back to what it means to submit, is recognizing that somebody at this current situation is leading. That's all submit means. Somebody in this current situation is leading. And if it's not me, my role is to submit. That's really because when you have more than one leader, you end up in a situation that causes chaos and confusion and destruction. I've said this before in the past. How does it go again? Shoot. If two people fundamentally disagree, I'm talking about at the base level, fundamentally disagree. That means there's no talking it out, there's no negotiating, there's no compromising. These are two people that fundamentally disagree. There's only two options: submission or separation. That's all you have left. But yeah, that's that.
All right, Jessica, pull it off. Pull it off. All right, go ahead.
So hold on. So when I was, I'm gonna use an example. I think this is important. So y'all give me a minute, please. I did 20 plus years, damn near 25 years of retail management. I hired people, I fired people, I promoted people, I trained people. I did all those things. And as a store manager, right? I'm the store manager. I'm probably gonna make the schedule and put you where I need you. I'm gonna order this stuff because we need it. I'm gonna order this stuff. But then I also have assistant managers, right? If I don't teach my assistant managers how to run my store in my absence, when do I take a day off? Without having to leave detailed instructions on how to run the store. If I have surgery and I'm out for 6 weeks, I have to be out for 6 weeks. Did I train my employees, my assistant managers to run the store as I would? Or did I just keep control of the helm because I didn't want to teach anybody else? Because I always wanted to be in control of everything. Because if I'm not in control of everything, then everything falters when I'm not in control of it. But the better thing to do, and this is what I think of as submission, and so I'm going to tie it all in together so it's not going to be like two different things. Submission, leadership, guidance. When your husband can teach you how to navigate things, and you as a wife can teach him how to navigate things in one another's absence. Doesn't that make more sense than the whole control aspect? Because once you lose control, then what does the rest of the family do? What does your wife do? What do your children do? Because all this time you've been in control, so you never handed off the reins for them to learn. So now let's say, God forbid, not you personally, I'm just saying anybody, God forbid there's a car accident and now that man's gone. But he didn't teach his wife anything. He just wanted control. So he just did everything. So I think that's an important aspect to what you said, to be said out loud, because I got to support the women on this part to an extent where, me, I'm gonna speak for myself only. Me, I don't want all y'all responsibilities. I tell you that straight up. I don't want your responsibilities. I sure don't. Nope. You can take out the trash. You can cut the grass. You can do all that stuff. I'm gonna cook these damn greens and kale and bake some chicken and cornbread, and we gonna have a good damn night. But I'm not coming out here to do all that. So there's roles. But then again, like I said, even though the husband should by all accounts be the head of the household. So I'm not diminishing from that. But if that husband isn't pouring into his wife to make sure that she can stand on her own 2 feet if something happens to him, then that's piss poor.
Okay. All right. I think she landed her plane. So I mean,
I did. Sorry, Momo came outside. Go ahead. My plane's landed.
It's all good. It's all good. Well, like I said, that's the purpose of us being here, to express our viewpoints and stuff like that. And it's okay if we disagree, because there was some fundamental points that was pointed out by Maurice that I disagree with. However, that's how he sees it. That's his perspective. So I gotta respect it. But my thing is it's like, make sure you guys are, you're leading with respect. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect someone to be chivalrous to you and you show no respect. You know what I'm saying? You have no mental or moral compass about you, and then you expect the same respect that someone who is giving that type of respect is receiving. So that really wouldn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, submission is something that I think a lot of people don't understand fundamentally, which is the reason why they have such dysfunction in their relationships. They are perpetually single and stuff like that, because they don't have respect for another human being. They don't have any discernment either. And within that, you can't possibly learn how to respect someone enough to allow them to step forward and lead or take the reins when you know nothing about a certain thing. And I think I mentioned before, men and women both submit, but we submit in different ways. It's about respect. If I was in a relationship with a woman and she knew all the ways of the kitchen, and I'm in there trying to direct her because I'm the leader, I'm the man, I'm the head of the household, I'm this, but she obviously knows how to cook better than I do, or she has a great grasp of the financial aspect of the household, and but I won't give her the money necessary to control how the flow of the money is going in the household to get everything paid. I want to be I want to be the head master of everything. Meanwhile, I'm messing up the family's finances because I want to be stubborn. That's not submission. Submit to her doing what she knows how to do best, and let her lead that particular aspect or whatever the case is. Submission is always misconstrued. You know what I'm saying? And it triggers a lot of people when you say certain things like the word control or the word submit. Um, People get their heads in a mix, in a mush, because they don't want nobody to have control of them, or they don't want nobody to tell them what to do. Well, I'm sorry, but at some point in your life, you're going to have to release it and let somebody else handle a certain aspect of your life or a certain thing or whatever the case is. Say again, acquiesce. Yes.
Yes.
So it's that's just a piece. It's just a form of submission. Again, it does not mean to bow down and lose yourself, because I've seen people. I know someone right now, they're losing themselves literally because they've allowed other people to dictate their lives and stuff like that. So she's literally submitted in the wrong way, and stuff like that. So my thing is that that's not what I'm talking about. That's not what any of us are talking about. And a man can't just be leading just because he got testicles. You know what I'm saying? So, you have to prove yourself worthy of being, followed or, respectfully submitted to. So, but anyway, I'm going to shut up. You guys, y'all have a great, 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 great night. And whatnot. Thank you guys for attending another absolutely good conversation and stuff like that. I want to thank Mr. Annecy for coming in, stopping through and whatnot. Always, we want to thank Mr. Mixmaster. Erie.
I don't do any of that.
Huh?
I don't do any of that. I don't know why you keep misrepresenting.
I like doing that. I like it. I like it. But anyway, Mr. Maxie.
Okay.
All right.
But all right.
Yeah. But thank you for joining us and all that good stuff, brother. And as always great for Miss Fields to be in the building. That's right, because otherwise I just have to look at Maurice all day. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to do that.
Don't want to do that.
Come on. Man.
So until next Thursday.
You're so lucky.
Till next Thursday, join us and whatnot. 8:30 Thursday, Eastern Standard Time. Come and see us and all that good stuff.